Yeah, you know what time it is. Boston has entered the chat time. George Balekji is raising the roof, baby. Travis Thomas here inside the PNC Bank studios. And you, of course, 617-790-0928. Hit us up at the chat at NESN.com and tweet us as well.
Like, subscribe, rate, review wherever you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, Amazon. Watch along on YouTube as well. We got Twitch. We're up there. Like, subscribe, rate, review, follow along, please. We would love it.
We would love that. And you know what else we loved last night?
Brad made a pick.
Brad made a pick
Brad,
in the NBA draft.
In the first round.
In the first round.
Brad Stevens stuck.
He did.
At the end of the first.
He did.
He made a hell of a pick.
He did not pull a Belichick. We were wondering if there was going to be a Belichick here. A little trade back action.
I would have taken this microphone and thrown it through that wall to the right of your head. But you know what? He's stuck, and he made a great pick. And
was it a great pick?
And Baylor Scheierman.
Was it?
Yes.
I disagree.
All right.
Now listen.
Well, GM Travis, what would you have done?
Yes, GM Travis.
What would you have told world champion Brad Stevens, architect of the most dominant team we've seen, regular, postseason, defies the odds, overcomes Joe Mazzulla?
Yeah.
What would you tell that GM?
You and I have been friends for a while now. We've been doing shows together for a while. We are, yeah. There's a true bromance here. So I tell you what, let's spice it up, you and I. Let's do some role play. You be Brad Stevens, ready?
I didn't know where that was going to go.
Yeah, well, here's where we are. You're Brad Stevens.
Okay.
First of all.
Hey, Travis.
Hey, Brad. First of all, I'd like to say thank you for all you've done. Done a tremendous job. Congratulations on the championship.
Pleasure's yours.
Happy to be involved here.
Yeah.
I know this is, in the end, going to be your call, and I'll respect whatever decision you make. But here's where I think we should go, Brad.
Let me hear it.
You know, there's a big man at Duke.
Oh, we just won with the Duke.
I know.
Okay.
And here's the best part, Brad. He checks every box that we need and that you like.
Let me hear it.
Well, he's a big man who is capable of scoring inside and out.
Oh, I like
athletic enough to run the floor. And Brad, let me just friendly reminder: Kristaps Porzingis.
Going to miss the start of next season.
Going to miss the start of next season. More on that later in the program.
We'll probably just let him walk once his contract's up.
I mean, you know, you can't count on him to stay healthy, as we've learned.
Okay.
And, Brad, I know you love him. I love him. We all love him. But Al Horford, well, he ain't getting any younger. A little long in the tooth.
Yep.
You know, Brad, I think this Flip kid from Duke, he could come in. He could learn from both of these guys. Yep. Consummate professionals. Good kid. He's a Dookie.
Yeah. I love Dookies.
Can come off of your bench a couple years. Then eventually, who knows? Call me crazy. Crack the starting lineup. You know what we don't need, in my humble opinion here, Brad?
Yeah.
A wingman. Or maybe like a combo guy. Like, we don't need another guy that can, 3 and D. And we got a team full of those, all under contract for a long time. That's the last thing we need.
We have a team option on Sam Hauser. We probably won't exercise. We can save $2 million on cap.
Respectfully, Brad.
We have to supermax Jason.
I understand, but respectfully, Sam Hauser's grow on trees.
Yeah.
You can't get big man.
In the form of Baylor Scheierman.
Oh, Baylor Scheierman.
Travis, you know what we're talking about here? You're talking Kyle Filipowski. I'm talking Baylor Scheierman. You know what my favorite wine section is when I go to Total Wine?
Now we're doing wine, Brad.
You know what my favorite wine is?
What?
Exciting Whites.
Brad, I'd like to leave your office now. Thank you.
Because that's what we're talking, Travis. You know what I just won a world championship with? Elite effing wings.
Exciting Whites.
A 7'3" Latvian that gave it his all. And some exciting whites off the bench. And that's what I'm going to draft to Baylor Scheierman.
That was brilliant.
A kid that rolls out of bed, has a green light to shoot from wherever the hell he wants to be. Gives us just enough effort on defense. Can be exposed at the next level, but could get it done. And as a 5-year guy in college, big-time shot maker and taker, can score out of the pick and roll off the handoffs, off ball movement. I really like the Scheierman kid, Travis.
Bro.
Filipowski's good. But you know what? He's a dookie, and he's a soft effing dookie.
Yeah, I can't push back.
You see how he handled that court storming?
I can't push back. I did. Oh yeah.
I'm not doing that. We need toughness.
He's not in that section in Total Wines and More.
We need grit. I need gritty whites. I want Baylor Scheierman. So, Travis, get the F out of my office.
Yeah, gladly. Thanks, Brad.
That was fun.
That was something else.
We should do that more.
I don't think so. I think my soul left my body when you gave me the Total Wine and More. That was brilliant by you. I was not prepared for that. Look, in the end,
I hear the Filipowski because I was on Hold My Banner with Tay.
Yeah.
And I said Kyle Filipowski at 30.
And he fills
it
a
makes
need.
sense.
Yes.
But the Scheierman pick makes sense as well.
I don't know.
He was good for Creighton, man.
Yeah, you watch a lot of Creighton, dog.
18 points per game, 9 rebounds a night, can shoot from 30 feet.
So he's a good defender,
6'7". He hustles. He's not athletically explosive, like not going to dunk on you, not going to be great in the fast break.
He buys in, though.
Yes, and hustles. Him and Trey Alexander made up a really good defensive backcourt for the Blue Jays. And he is 6'7" and a sniper from deep. And you know what Joe Mazzulla loves?
Yeah.
Threes. 45 of them, 55, 65, 75 a night.
So Hauser's finito.
This kid comes in, Sam Hauser slots out.
Yeah, right. Which, I mean, listen, I meant everything I said. Thank you, Sam Hauser, for the ring. You're fantastic. But, like, I would rather, I feel as though it's less common to have a big especially in this draft. This draft, bro, and we're going to talk about some of these other teams and some of these picks. Mm-hmm. Usually in the NBA draft, because I'm a college basketball junkie, because we both love college basketball and the NBA, I know a great deal of the kids. And then you get some international kids and increasingly more, right?
Literally 4 Frenchmen.
And then you get some G League dudes that at least you've heard of along the way. This is the first draft I can remember where, I mean, everyone's laughing at me in our content center, but I was serious half the time where they would make a pick and I would just yell out, "Who?"
Yeah.
And
that hit me at like 20.
Yeah, man. Like, I just look at this draft in totality, and I think, you have an opportunity to get a big who can do, and look, I'm talking about Flip like he's Shaq. He didn't get drafted in the first round, but I'm just like, let's pump the brakes here. But he was on the board. This is a round where he's projected. He's going to go early.
You have that
today.
Need in the front court.
You
need front court depth no matter what.
Yes.
But
you don't need another 3-and-D wing. I don't care about Sam. Respectfully,
high IQ,
Sam Hauser, like,
great
get
feel
him
for
in the
game.
second round. Get him in the second round.
You could get that Sam Hauser replacement there.
I tell you where you're not going to get Flip in the second round. He'll be gone. You see what I'm saying? You could have got this kid or a kid like him in the second round. Nothing against Shire. Maybe he'll be great. Scheierman. But
in a draft rich with international, and we saw 4 Frenchmen, Baylor Scheierman actually spent some time out in France.
Really?
No, he's from Hastings, Nebraska. I got you twice.
Why'd you even say that? Why'd you make that up?
I just want to mess with you at this point.
At least the Total Wines and More made sense.
The wheels spun for a second
I was like, really? I didn't see that in my notes.
Yeah. He actually played 3 years in Europe.
Look, it'll be fine. They're the champs, and Brad, we trust.
Exactly.
I'm picking nits here, but
that's where you defer, and they poured themselves into so much tape, so much film, and the amount of workouts they've had. And when Scheierman, what?
I'm still laughing.
Because poured themselves like pouring wine.
I keep going back, bro. I'm not even repeating what you said, but it was great.
It's a section in the wine
store. It is a section. I've seen it. I spent a lot of time in the wine store.
You do.
He's right.
But like there are the moments where you go, they know more than me.
Yeah.
And with Brad Stevens, you trust it.
After
the team he was able to assemble.
Yeah.
And even think about the contributions they got for guys that they either drafted or brought in and developed.
Yeah.
And this is a Scheierman dude. Steps in, 24 years old. He is what he is. But he will play for you for the next 3-4 years, and you're going to get with him what you get. I
hate it.
Off the bench, 6'7" sniper. 30 feet. 32 feet. Confidence with that.
Can I ask you something?
Off the dribble, step back, catch and shoot.
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, yes, go ahead.
All right, Porzingis isn't going to start the season.
Yeah.
And then when he does play,
Yeah.
how long
I got
till he's banged up?
I'm George now. I'm not Brad anymore, right?
Yeah, no, now you're George.
I have like 5% faith Porzingis is going to make it through this next season.
Same, right?
Yep.
Cool. Same page.
Yeah.
Al Horford. I'm just going to keep asking him hey, Al, we know you're 157, but you got one more in you? Can you play more minutes?
Are you 37? Fully seriousness.
No, I'm saying, like.
No, but it's like I can't imagine 38 now. You're gonna be like, hey, we're running back, Al.
Right.
You're 19, baby.
So I'm just, and then, brother, when you get to May, you know what I mean? In April,
Cornette playing significant minutes.
What are we doing? Like, you mean to tell me a big could, even if it's not Flip from Duke, there were other bigs on the board.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there was another Frenchie. I mean, there were big guys all over the place. I don't know. I didn't love it.
It does get me too, though. If you think of a guy, I think you'd have to move up from 54 to get him. But a Cam Spencer in the second round out of UConn,
You
a
probably
guy
have to move up.
that should have played at Duke. But to your point,
Yes.
you get Filipowski now, then you get Cam Spencer in the second round, and you're in the same spot.
That's what I'm saying.
It's all about the move before the move, and we'll see where they go second round. Right?
well.
It's hard. You want to rip on a team, but you have to see the full thing that they do on the draft.
Yes.
And we'll see whoever they get in the second round. But to your point, too, can they be an immediate impact guy right away playing?
It just
Scheierman can.
It feels like, and I'm being respectful because it's a championship team, and I want to lead with that. But it feels like so many wings. Like, it's just like, are we Buffalo Wild Wings? Like, what are we doing? It's just so many wings. Could you get me a couple more bigs to fill in some gaps that you know are coming this season?
Bigs aren't fun. They don't shoot threes.
Well, they
could.
They can.
I know.
That's what I mean.
I get you.
But, hey, listen, in the end, in Brad we trust. Now, you heard me say, literally, all last night, who? What were your thoughts of the rest of the draft? Because, look, we obviously cared the most about the Celtics. But, I mean, my God, France had 3 players go in the top 10, 1 and 2 back-to-back.
Mm-hmm.
And then, 1 at 6. So, I mean, France
won at
won
25.
They 4 total in the first round. So, I mean, France was winning.
Alexar. Tijan, I can't even say that.
I knew one of them you were gonna butcher. You were doing pretty good.
Look, I love Alexar as a prospect. I hate that he went to DC. I really actually genuinely
because it's a wasteland for basketball.
Yes,
I agree.
This was an interesting draft because you get past 10, 12 picks,
Yep.
14, 15 picks, and then you start getting the whose is this and whose is that.
It was interesting to you. That's an interesting word that you choose. I thought it sucked.
It was just and I think that's why I'm being nice on it. Like, it did interest me of like, you're going to dive into these guys, but it's an overall weak draft.
Right.
The influx of all this like foreign talent coming in. Zach Edey going 9,
Right.
which had that lottery grade before the draft, but 9 to Memphis. You're like, what is he going to do with the speed of Ja Morant?
Be slow as molasses. In fact, I mean,
But he could play.
if you look at winners and losers, let's go to losers because I actually had the Grizzlies because Zach Edey at 9 is absurd.
Mm-hmm.
And all I've been doing is banging the drum of Zach Edey. I'm a Zach Edey fan from college. I thought he could come off someone's bench and be productive. I was saying that it was a good fit for the Celtics. I figured he'd be around at the end of the first round. Mm-mm. And he goes 9? Come on now. Ja Morant is not going to slow down for the big man.
No.
By the time he scores and gets an and one and does the gritty, Zach Edey will be crossing half court. Like, are you kidding? They're losers to me, other draft.
Yeah, loser for me in the draft was the Spurs. Because you come out of 4, draft Stephon Castle. Need to teach him how to shoot, but that is a dynamic point guard, really smart, great defender, good hustler.
Yeah.
And you see what he does at UConn, perfect fit for San Antonio.
Sure.
Then at 8, they go and get Rob Dillingham out of Duke.
Yeah.
Can shoot, dynamic, very talented backcourt you have right there to pair around Victor Wembanyama. And then they flip Rob Dillingham for a 2030 and 2031 draft pick. The world won't exist in 2028. You have Victor Wembanyama effing Yama. Get talent around him and a dynamic backcourt. 2030?
That's dumb.
2031?
Dumb.
I don't even want to be alive then. And you're trading picks for guys then. The 14U AAU circuit, man, is just freaking rich with talent. They can't wait to pick. It was a great, like, that pick happened. I'm staring at it at 8. We're all watching.
Yeah.
Tay kept saying it too. I'm like, they could take Dillingham here. They could take Dillingham to get it. He's out of his seat excited. I'm the same way. That's a team that could be a year or two away from in the playoffs, and they do that. 2030 and 2031, I was just like, I'm done.
Terrible.
That's a loser of the draft to me.
Bro, I'm just trying to make it to tomorrow. I ain't thinking about
I'm
no
not
damn.
getting there.
All right, now, my winner outside of France, UConn. Honestly, I mean, 2 players in the top 10. Castle, the Spurs at 4, Klingen 7. I mean, like, I thought it was a tremendous night for UConn. Klingen goes to Portland. Like, I mean, Dan Hurley coming back to school. Let's start there and not taking a Laker job, right?
Yeah.
Then you get 2 lottery picks, and there's more players that come off the board, today in the second round. But I thought UConn won the night. I know that's not an NBA team, but that was literally a winner from the draft for me. I walked away, and Hurley was there supporting his guys. I walked away from this draft feeling like, man, what a great night for UConn.
And you win back-to-back national championships. You have a guy go number 4.
Right.
Those 5 stars are looking at you now.
Can you get us to the league?
We'll go to stores. There's
That's
nothing
right.
out there. It's farmland. It's a boring school, but we're going to go there. We'll hang out for a few months. We won't go to class. We'll go to the right classes.
Right.
Get by, and then in March, April, we're out of there. I mean, that's big for the recruitment of this. Winner for me, I'll go Minnesota Timberwolves. As of speaking out, Rob Dillingham, because the T-Wolves get Dillingham in a trade. So you have him playing off of Anthony Edwards.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Then later in the draft, get Terrence Shannon Jr. out of Illinois. Dynamic scores.
Yeah.
Shannon Jr., athletic as hell, really can defend.
Yep.
Both downhill scores and slashers. Shannon Jr.'s shot has to come further along Dillingham. But again, those guys learning from being around Ant, who's a leader, leads by example.
Yeah.
And they'll learn from Mike Conley as well. Minnesota with those 2 picks, when they get that, I'm like, great job.
Yeah.
Awesome job.
Yeah.
So I think for me, it was Minnesota Timberwolves being the winner of the draft by far.
Let's hear your winners and losers from the draft. 617-790-0928. What'd you think of the Celtics draft, too? Hit us up. You can also email us, the chat at NESN.com. Let's get to these tweets here, George, because, I mean, as you can imagine, last night after this pick, the Celtics fans wanted to be heard. And look, I said this, in Brad, we trust, right? So, of course, with this pick, there's Brad.
Yeah. 40%
3-ball shooter. He did it again.
Yeah, he was 38% from 3 last season in college. And he made over 100 threes.
Yeah.
So it's 38% from 3, making over 100 of them.
Hey, some peeps agreed with us about this is by far the most never heard of him NBA draft in my lifetime. That's from Spike Eskin. Same, broski. Same.
It's a mix of a lot of international talent and then also bad draft. You're going to see lesser talented guys that played college ball end up there as well.
No doubt. And then this is my favorite tweet of the night. Breaking news. Bronny James has been selected by Burger King at number 55 in the NBA draft, sources say. I kept waiting to hear Bronny's name, and it just never came to fruition.
I wish I dug up my Reddit post. Yes, I post on Reddit from 38 days ago of how I said the Magic or the Jazz are going to pick Bronny and hold him hostage. Yes, I said it before Bill Simmons did. And didn't come to fruition. So LeBron is going to get what he wants. Got his coach. Got Dalton Connect. Another winner is the Lakers getting Connect.
Yeah.
More spacing, more shooting. Can be a retread of Austin Reeves on the lineup, but we'll see how they play together. And he'll get his son playing with him in L.A.
Listen, before we move on, I mean, what we've learned here so far in this wonderful program is George is on Reddit, and also Brad Stevens, we learned where he likes to shop in Total Wines and more. All right, let's get some more NBA news and notes. I can't get over that. I mean, we've talked about this already, really, but Kristaps Porzingis officially going to miss the start of next season.
Yeah.
No shock here from either one of us.
Not surprised at all. And remember when he was putting out tweets of his recovery now he's coming
That's
back
right.
from his original injury.
Yep.
And he added Latvian flag. I said to you the big push for him to rehab the right way, to win a ring, play for his national team in the Olympics, which means a lot to him. But the second injury that occurred, I'm not going to say the name of it, but basically having a dislocation in the connection between his knee and his bottom right foot.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised at all. 7'3", get the surgery, get back for your last year. You have to play well. You have to be healthy for the Celtics because you're going to hit free agency. You're super talented. You're never healthy. You have to get paid in this next free agency hit for KP.
Yeah, I listen, I agree. Like,
it sucks.
Yeah.
Like, this sucks.
He's one of those players, just be healthy for the playoffs, bro. Like, we already know what time it is. Like, all right, you're going to miss the start of the regular season. You're going to come back. You're going to play however many games. You're going to get banged up again. Just nothing catastrophic. Avoid all catastrophic injuries as much as possible. And then try to be as healthy as you can during the playoff run. That's it. And that's the reality of dealing with this guy. And by the way, we knew that when he was acquired. So there's no breaking news anywhere. No one can be shocked about this guy with health issues. Now, here's a team that's going to be trying to threaten the Celtics. The New York Knicks have been busy. Okay, so first, they received Mikal Bridges from the Nets for Bogdanovich, lots of first-round picks. And at first I was thinking, boy, that's a lot to give up for Bridges. But then I also saw they signed OG Anunoby to a 5-year, $212.5 million deal. Look, I'm not trying to be a hater here. But I'm going to be honest with you.
You're a hater.
I'm going to be honest with you.
You're a hater.
This feels very panicked. This feels here's why. Hear me out. The Knicks fell apart at the seams in the playoffs. Really towards the end of towards the end of the regular season, into the playoffs. Health-wise, they fell apart at the seams, right? Now you go out, you overpay two ways. All this for Bridges is a lot, as far as I'm concerned.
They weren't their picks.
And then also 5 years, $212 for OG. This feels like a team filled. Jalen Brunson and the role players. And you just overpaid for everybody except Jalen Brunson. You're not beating Celtics in 5. Like, you're not beating the Celtics. Yes.
It would have been Celtics in 7 if the Knicks were healthy and playing the way they are. Can they bring Hartenstein back? That's the big one for this. But with Mikal,
these guys are role players.
Mikal Bridges is not a role player.
I think he is.
He is not a role player.
I'm not a fan.
He was a guy that was a legitimate top 2, top 3 scoring option for the Suns. Gets traded to Brooklyn, thrown into the number 1 spot.
He's a difference maker.
Can't carry an offense.
He's a difference maker.
Lockdown, all defensive guy. Good scorer. Can shoot. Can slash and attack. Finish with both arms, both hands. Will be the number 2 behind Brunson, or could be the 3 or 4, all depending on a night when you have Dante DiVincenzo and Josh Hart in this lineup as is.
He's
as well.
Pascal
Julius
Siakam.
Randle's still there.
Am I being disrespectful? He's Pascal Siakam.
More polished offensive game, Siakam. But you need the guys that can defend on both ends. OG Anunoby, great defender too. You need these wings to match up with the Celtics. The only way you have a shot of winning an NBA title is if you have faith in your roster and lineup that it can match up with the Boston Celtics. You go out, get Mikal Bridges, elite defensive wing, combo him and OG Anunoby. And Anunoby, great defender, 38% from deep. Averaged almost 15 points per game with the Knicks. Was never healthy once he got traded over. And
Are these moves putting them over the top? Because I don't
believe
believe
they are a better team right now than they were last year by getting Mikal Bridges. They still have Dante DiVincenzo. They still have Josh Hart. Like, no duh. Mitchell Robinson, we'll see how healthy he is to start the season. Can you bring Hartenstein back? You can run an offense through him. Brunson is the guy.
Yes, no problem.
And Mikal Bridges is the number 2. And then Hart, DiVincenzo, Anunoby, Randle, they fall in from there. Or Mikal Bridges could be the 3 behind
No concerns
Randle.
of health with that coach of theirs?
But whoever they sign, I'm going to have that concern of health because of Thibodeau making them play 35, 40 minutes a night late in the season into the playoffs.
Right.
Running them into the ground.
My point exactly. Celtics in 5.
They made improvements. The Tibbs thing's wild.
It's wild.
But the Knicks got so much better with this trade. And they gave up a bunch of draft picks that aren't theirs. Bridges was there in Phoenix. Great player there. Super smart. Never misses games, too. Is an Iron Man in the NBA.
For now.
We'll see what Tibbs does.
You know that's a kiss of death, don't you? He never gets hurt. This guy is durable. Coach Tibbs? Yeah. He's out for the season. Why? What happened? You, Coach. You're running these guys into the ground, man.
Defense rests its case.
I mean, listen. Everyone's reacting how you are. I'm on an island here where I'm like, I don't think they got that much better. Like, to me, I still feel like it's Jalen Brunson and a bunch of dudes.
You're vastly underrated.
I am.
Bridges.
I'm not a big fan.
And the defensive matchup that him and Anunoby can present.
But
you got these elite wings from Boston. You have to have guys that can keep up with them on the perimeter.
Right.
And give Jalen Brunson his rest on the end of the floor. When your best player is an undersized guard,
sure,
you have to make up for that in other ways. Getting Bridges and getting Anunoby, pairing up with Hart DiVincenzo. We'll see what the lineups could be.
Sure.
It could be Brunson, Bridges, OG, or Dante DiVincenzo off the bench. Randall Hartenstein, we'll see.
Sounds like Brunson and a bunch of dudes. What do you think?
Hater.
617-790-0928. I say season 5. The Knicks do not worry me. Hit us up at the chat at NESN.com. But tell me, am I hating? Get involved here. Let me know. Now, enough with all this basketball. Let's head to the Diamond and talk about the red-hot Red Sox with the host of 310 to Left, Tom Caron. All right, here he is, broadcasting legend and host of 310 to Left, Tom Caron, joining us here inside the PNC Bank studio. And as always, check out Boston Has Entered the Chat on NESN's YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wherever you get your podcast. How you doing, TC?
I'm doing well. Is this what they used to call it on NBC? Shameless crossover? Shameless crossover promotion? It's great to be here representing another podcast, Travis.
Absolutely. All right, now for the people just starting to crawl out from under that Celtics championship rock, TC, and they're getting around and getting into the Red Sox right now, they're going to see a hot team. My question to you is, what gives? I mean, in your estimation, why is this team so hot and been having a better season than many people anticipated, TC?
Well, there's a number of things, Travis. It begins with the pitching, which has been there since the start of the year. The Bailey effect is real, as they're calling it throughout Major League Baseball. Andrew Bailey, the new pitching coach, Justin Willard, the new pitching director or director of pitching, along with Craig Breslow, who himself was a pitcher here with the Red Sox on a championship team. They have really instilled a completely different philosophy with this team. They rarely throw four-seam fastballs because fastballs get hammered when you make mistakes. The other pitchers, the sweepers, the east-west movement, the sliders, the splitters, all the other things they throw, there's more of a margin for error. You'll get weaker contact, softer contact, and less damage. So it begins with the pitching. That's been there since the start. And then it continues with the hitting in June. In June, they have been one of the best offensive teams in all of baseball. And there's been a slight shift in the approach at the plate. It was a little bit of an all-or-nothing approach at the beginning of the season. Had a lot of home runs, had a lot of strikeouts, had really bad numbers with men in scoring position, especially with 2 outs. Over the last month, they've been doing a better job of just putting the ball in play, keeping the line moving, not trying to do too much, lowering the strikeouts. And then last but not least, they are one of the best base running teams in all of baseball. They haven't led the American League in stolen bases since the 30s. And even I wasn't doing pregame show back then. And right now they have more stolen bases than any team in the American League. The thing they will need to tighten up is the defense. It's been sloppy on and off throughout the season, and that has been one continuing issue.
TC, one thing I find myself doing when I watch Red Sox games is the Jarren Duran celebration there. First of all, tell me, what is that? Secondly, is he going to be an all-star? Because I'm hearing a groundswell for this.
Well, there's no doubt he's going to be an all-star. He's not going to get voted to the all-star team, and that tells you everything you need to know about where this team is in the court of popular opinion, right?
Yeah.
You're all watching Celtics games, paying no attention to this Red Sox team, and you got a guy who's not just becoming a star, he's becoming a superstar.
Yeah.
He is literally one of the best players in baseball right now. He has a WAR that, as we speak, is higher than Juan Soto, and he's making about $36 million less this season.
Woo.
And this I hate to. It's so anticlimactic. It should have this great story.
What is it?
It's the river monster,
Oh.
which comes from them playing poker, and you go to the river. And if you hit on the river, they go, yeah. And now they go, yeah. So it's kind of wholesome in a poker playing way. It's just, it's such a thing. I wish the better story is the Boston Marathon medal they wear after a home run.
Yeah.
Because that is from Alex Cora and Pete Fatsi, the hitting coach, running the 5K the morning of the game here, the couple days before the marathon. They ran the BAA 5K, got their medals, gave them out in the clubhouse. Now whoever hits a home run gets one of the medals. That's organic. That's cool.
Yeah, I like that one a lot better. Let me ask you about Connor Wong, because I look at him as really the last man standing, quite frankly, TC, from the Mookie Betts trade. He's really standing out this season. What do you sort of attribute to that, A? And B, there's a lot of talk about him possibly changing positions down the line, leaving the catcher position to make way for the young prospect. Do you see that happening as well in terms of Connor Wong?
It certainly could, because a couple of reasons. Kyle Teal, as you said, is the best catching prospect in all of baseball, and he is rising the charts quickly. He's in Double-A Portland as we speak.
Okay.
Probably going to be in Triple-A Worcester before too long. And once you're in Worcester, you're just a knock on the door away from coming to Boston. The other thing is Connor Wong was never really a catcher until late in high school.
Wow.
So he's not like a guy who was brought up on the U10 team as a catcher, has been catching his whole life. He can play infield. He can play different positions. He's one of the fastest guys on a fast team. He's got the best sprint time or second sprint time. Real Muto in Philly might be a little bit faster, but certainly best in the American League. One of the best hitting catchers in the game. So you got to kind of figure a way to get this guy in the lineup. But it's funny because he was the guy nobody talked about when that Mookie Betts deal went down, right? Jeter Downs was going to be the prospect who someday became a great player. He was the first one gone. Verdugo was good here. I mean, he was the best defensive player last year. Hit a lot of doubles. Probably didn't have as many home runs as we expected. But he was good. Now he's doing it in New York. But I think Connor Wong, when it's all said and done, I joked with a friend in L.A. the other day. He didn't like it. I said, who did the Sox give up in that Connor Wong trade? I can't even remember. But that's not really how it played out. I like to separate it, okay? I like to say that the Red Sox got Connor Wong for David Price. And that was a great deal.
Yeah.
They got Verdugo and Jeter Downs for Mookie Betts, and that was a horrible deal.
Yeah, it's all making sense to me, TC. I love it. Now, the trade deadline, that's been a point of contention around here for a few years now. But as you see it this season, do you believe that the Sox may be buyers this time around at the trade deadline?
Too early to tell. Hate to straddle the fence for you, but it's a lot of baseball between now and the deadline. You got a month to go.
Yeah.
And as well as they have played, and as we speak, they are holding on to a playoff spot,
right?
Which nobody expected. Playoffs began today. A lot of people would be pissed off because they bought tickets to games in July and August. But if it began today, that they would be in the playoffs. So they've reached the goal halfway through, because that's where we are. We're midway through the season now. But their playoff projections, I use FanGraphs. The team has their own. Everybody has their own playoff projections. FanGraphs pretty good. They've got around 37%. That's way up. It was not like 12% a month ago.
Sure.
So they have shot way up. But that's an indication to look at, because if the internal projections say they've got a good shot to make the playoffs, they're going to add to this roster and go for it. They are. If they say they're not, then they're going to blow it up. Well, they're not going to blow it up, okay?
Yeah.
But Kenley Jansen, Chris Martin, Nick Pivetta, who's one of their best starters, and Tyler O'Neill. Those are all four guys who are free agents at the end of the year. If you don't think you're going deep this year, you have to look at trading those guys to get more.
Yeah.
But if they can put together a month here, if they can keep playing in July and hold on to one of those playoff spots, then they're not going to trade away much. I think they're going to try to make themselves better and go for it.
That's where I'm leaning. And I know you got to go here, TC. A minute left. I was going to ask you gut feel on this, because I think this team's going to continue to stay hot, quite frankly. Will they be as hot as they've been? Who the heck knows? But certainly they're contenders. Cora has them in it every night. I don't think they're going anywhere, TC.
I like what Cora said a couple days ago. He said, with this kind of speed and this kind of youth, we're not the kind of team that's going to lose 5 in a row.
Right.
Like, they're not going to just go on a total tailspin. Fast teams, good hitting teams don't do that. Good pitching teams. They got good pitching. And so, listen, I don't think they're going to be a 95-win team. But 87, 88 wins, that might get you the third wild card. And I'll tell you what, we saw it in 2021. They didn't qualify till the last day of the season when they beat Washington. Had to come from behind to do it. And they want to be in the Yankees in the wild card and going within 2 wins of a World Series. So it doesn't take much.
Wow.
We saw it last year, right? The Diamondbacks, the Rangers, nobody thought they were going to make it to the World Series. Get to the playoffs, get healthy, get hot, and you can make good things happen.
Preach. From your mouth to the baseball god's ears. Thank you, TC. Always a pleasure, my man.
Appreciate it. Listen, we were just talking with Tristan Casas, filling him in on what duck boats are all about. Telling about Jake Peavy buying a duck boat after the duck boat parade in 2013, moving a duck boat down to his ranch in Alabama. Okay, listen, we saw it last week with the Celtics. This city comes alive. I know. You know, Travis, it was the first one since you graced us with your presence at NESN.
That's right.
All right. You know, some of us have been waiting around 5.5 years. That is an eternity in Boston. All right. That is, we don't like to wait 5 years between championships. Okay?
That's right.
So,
that's right.
You know, I tell the story all the time, right? When NESN posted a thing about it last week, I was covering a parade once, and I saw this family there early for parade, and the family shows up, and this kid says, "Hey, let's go stand where we always stand for these parades."
Wow.
And I'm like, dude. You got a usual spot to watch championship parades. Kid's like 14, you know? And I'm like, you go tell somebody in Cleveland that you've got a usual spot to watch a parade.
Right.
Go tell somebody in Detroit that you've got a place. Go tell somebody in Buffalo you got a place you like to stand for parades. Yeah. And then get out of the way because they're going to punch you in the face. Okay, so that's Boston. All right? We like championships. We don't just like playoffs. We'll see what the Red Sox can do this year, but it'd be a hell of a lot of fun to see playoff baseball back at Fenway Park.
I love it, TC. Thanks as always, my man.
You're the best, Travis. Appreciate it.
All right, George. Was I out of pocket for having playoff talk with these Red Sox? Because I'm telling you, this team's not going anywhere, I don't believe.
They're in the wild card spot right now. Still no Grissom. Still no Casas.
Okay.
Bayo needing to figure his stuff out.
Yes.
But with Houck.
Yep.
And Cutter Crawford, you need 2 good pitchers.
Yep.
They have that.
Yep.
See what happens with Kenley Jansen. But I don't think it's out of pocket at all to talk Sox in the playoffs.
Man. The other thing I loved from that is
be ahead of schedule.
It feels this trade deadline, I know it's a ways off, like TC said, but I think this trade deadline, they're going to go for it. I really do. And I know we've been saying that for a couple years around here. But this team, I believe, will be in contention. And in past years, it's like, well, they're likely not going to be, so we'll see. This team feels like they're going to be in contention, George. They're not going anywhere. Alex Cora deserves so much credit.
Yeah.
Because this team plays hard. They are a tough out every night for any team that comes into Boston in the Fenway or even has them in their building and thinks that they're going to get rid of that team easily. They got another thing coming. They're tough out.
And especially with the development, I think of Ceddanne Rafaela with Jaron Duran, how far they've come along. Just to name a couple of the young guys.
Absolutely. For all the latest on the Red Sox, check out 310 to Left with TC. Tune in on NESN's YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and wherever you get your podcast. And make sure you follow us on all your social media accounts as well for all of our best content. All right, let's keep this baseball party rocking, shall we, as we talk Cape League baseball with the commish himself, John Castleberry.
And, John, you've started in the Cape League yourself, 24 years old as a manager, now commissioner. You started at Orleans as the manager to where you are now. How have you seen this league change from getting started, just a young skipper, to where you are now leading it?
Well, it's just gotten bigger. I mean, it's just, like I said, the brand has gotten so big. So there's a lot more involved. I think there are more issues now than there has been as far as the recruiting of the players. Because the draft is backed up into July. You also have the portal, the college portal you deal with. You have the NIL, which is all college related. You have agents that kind of get involved, and then you have coaches that have mandatory restrictions on pitchers. And there's just a lot of roster changes you have to make that we never had to make back in the 80s. I mean, we had 20-man rosters. And if you lost a guy, you just went to get a guy. Well, there's so many summer leagues now that it's hard to find those backup players. And then, just the issues that I said previously, you kind of run into that. So these guys that put the teams together, the field managers and some of the general managers, they have a lot of work cut out for them. It's just different. it's different, but it's big. I mean, it's gotten really big, and it's cool. It's neat to see. We're trying to make it easier for everybody, but the fans won't. They'll never know. They won't miss a beat. These are still the best players. They're the best players in the country, and it's almost like an all-star team for every team you go to watch.
In your life, when you look back on the lineups you managed, the players you've watched, what are the names that jump out to you to see where they become in the bigs? Because when you had them, they were just in college, looking to develop, looking to get better in the summer away from their college teams. But now when you look back on now, you're like, I can't believe I managed that guy. Or I can't believe I got to just watch that guy play. It's such an intimate, such a basic, in the best way possible setting of baseball.
Well, it's really crazy because I work for the Giants too. And I'll give you a quick kind of a story. Now, I'm a manager of the 80s, but we'll go back to the latest people that are playing in the league too that should, help the younger generation. But Will Clark played at Katuitt. Well, my first year I was an assistant coach, and Will Clark played first base. Well, we see each other not all the time, but when we see each other, it's really cool. He'll hug me, I'll hug him, and I'll go, hey, man, how you doing? Talk about our families. So it's really neat to watch like a Will Clark or a JT Snow, who I see often. Those guys those are the guys that I coached in the 80s. But you got guys, Aaron Judge played in the league, for God's sakes. Paul Skeens, who's right now probably the best future for baseball on the mound, played in the league. You've got Chris Sale, ex-Red Sox, now a Brave, and Aaron Nola with the Phillies. Kyle Schwarber, who I've met Kyle as a scout and watched him play at Wareham, and just what a great guy, what a blue-collar guy, and just a neat person. And what I have found, Pete Alonso played in, and what I have found is that I root for those guys. They played in the Cape. They played the whole year here. The fans loved them. The house parents became very, very close to them. If they had children, those children, even when they become adults, still stay in contact with those players. And it is really a neat environment. It is so cool. And even as a manager and then going into scouting for over 30 years, you see these players and you kind of get to meet them, and you meet them in a relaxed environment. So you get to see who they really are. And they remember that, believe it or not. They'll come up to you and talk to you, and it's really neat. It's a neat experience for everybody.
Yeah. The stretch of the league is amazing to me. My first job out of college, I was working in Missouri, covered a great pitcher that pitched at Missouri State. He told me about his time in the Cape League. Before I knew about it, he was telling me about it, and that shows the stretches it has. I have to ask this, if someone's been around it, which field is your favorite Cape League field?
Oh, no. Oh, Jesus.
You love all 10 kids, but one's the best.
I do. I love all 10 fields. One
is the best, John.
That's the political answer. My number's retired in Orleans. So, but I love all 10 fields, and they have all 10 organizations are great. And they've redone all the fields this past spring, and they look wonderful, and they're going to keep making improvements. And it's really cool to watch the progression on the fields and what they've done.
That's the way you answer that, John. Way to do it, man. You didn't even get yourself in trouble right there. Nice work, John.
Yeah, I'll find out after this podcast. My phone starts blowing up. We'll see.
Thank you so much to John Castleberry. George, you know this. I went to the Cape for my first time last year.
Yeah.
I stayed in Orleans, actually, and I saw the field where these guys play. I didn't go. No, I didn't go because I didn't know anything about it. I was a rook. Now I know a little something. But look, I looked into it. Affordable for my family. You can't even say that anymore. Family-friendly entertainment. You can't even say that anymore these days. So it definitely, I feel like they got a great thing going. They have for years. I'm new to it, but I'm definitely going to go the next time I go to the Cape.
It is, just take the intimacy of when you're watching a high school baseball game, right? But you're putting like high level college players out there.
Yes.
You're basically watching 10-team league, all-star league of some of the best talent in college baseball has to offer in such a cool and unique setting in what is a Cape League.
No doubt. And John said this a few times where it's like a slice of Americana, and he's absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's nothing better, especially you're on vacation or something. You're just out there enjoying the weather, enjoying baseball with your fam jam. That's beautiful. Drinking a couple cold ones. Man, I want to go do that right now. By the way,
thinking.
You could check it out on NESN. We got 4 games this season.
Yeah, exactly. I
Starting
think it'd be
tonight.
cool, and including that with the All-Star game as
Yeah.
well for what they'll have. And that one being in Falmouth, but
Yeah.
cold beers.
Oh.
And what's great with it, like you pull them out of the cooler and just enjoy it. You know what I mean? Bring it BYOB
Yeah.
to a baseball game.
We're going right now.
Talking to me,
Let's
talking
settle
nice
it.
to me.
Hey, for all of our best content of the day, make sure you follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. For Travis Thomas, George Balekji, here inside the PNC Bank studio, thank you for rolling with us on Boston Has Entered the Chat. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Later.